So today we shall talk about the Unit 5. Let us see the syllabus as per AKTU. Unit 5 consists of geotechnical properties of reinforced wall, use of swell reinforcement, shallow foundation of swell with reinforcement, design considerations, idealized swell, foundation and interface behavior, elastic models of swell behavior. And this is a small unit, and three lectures. In this week, we shall complete this unit. So, three lectures we are going to cover under this unit, Unit 5. So, let us see normally what we used to do in soil enforcement. That is the important. I think already you people have studied about the compaction chapter. Normally, in case of compactions, what we have discussed, suppose you want to construct the embankment, then you have to, before that you have to take the soil sample, and definitely you have to find out the optimum water content and maximum dry density. And at that optimum water content and maximum dry density, you have to compact the soil at the time of road construction also, or if you are going to construct the embankment or dam, definitely you have to go for the OMC and MDD. You have to maintain the OMC and MDD in the field also. So this normally target we have in compaction. So here in soil enforcement also, compaction is there, but along with the compaction, the next things which we are going to do here, that is called as reinforcement. Design of concrete structure. Already you have been studying about the reinforcement. Whenever we talk about the reinforcement, we understand normally a steel rod. I think you will be knowing in design of concrete structure that whenever anybody asks you, sir, what is the reinforcement? You can say that it is the steel rod, sir, a steel rod, which is going to take the tensile force. Here, same thing is there. Along with the soil, there you are going to use, in case of design of concrete structures, you are going to use the steel rod or reinforcement along with the concrete. That's why its name is reinforced cement concrete, RCC. But here, we are going to use the reinforcement along with the soil. Whenever you are going to construct either, you are going to construct the road or the embankment or the dam, in that case, or retaining wall, earth retaining wall, in that case you can use the reinforcement. See here, whenever we talk about the reinforcement does not mean only the steel rod. Here we can use any materials, like we can use the polymer also, polythene also. We can use the steel rod also. We can use. We can also use the bamboo. We can also use the wooden plank. So many types of materials we can use. We shall discuss one by one today, and you will get the concept. Let us see some figure today. What figures are there? Once you will understand about the figure, then many things will come clear in your mind. You can see the cursor is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we are going to do at the time of compaction, as you know, we are going to suppose you are going to construct the embankment. In that case, what you used to do? We are going to spread 15 centimeters soil. Then we are compacting and meeting our the compaction characteristics, which is called as MDD and OMC. And then again, next layer we are going to put, and we can go for the rolling or go for the compaction. So layer wise we are compacting and meeting our MDD and OMC. The same thing is also here. We can see this figure you can see first. So what we are going to do, we are going to fill the soil and then one layer of reinforcement. As I told you, reinforcement may be the steel rods, maybe a steel net, maybe bamboo sticks, maybe wooden planks, anything you can use as a reinforcement, which is going to take the tensile force. And as you know, soil normally fails in shear, concrete fails in compression. So soil fails in shear and concrete fails in tension. But here, normally soil can take the compressive load. But if you are going to use the reinforcement, or in reinforcement, in that case, it can also take the tensile load. So that benefit is there. So what we are going to do, we are going to put this soil, then one layer, then we are going to compact. First layer we shall compact, then we shall put the reinforcement. After that, again we shall put the soil, we shall go for the compaction. Once compaction is over, then we shall put the next layer of the reinforcement, and then we shall go for the put the soil, and after that we shall go for the compaction. So similarly, the stepwise work is going to be completed. You can see this figure, how the reinforcements are going to be laid at the time of construction of the retaining wall or any embankment, or even in the roads also we can use. Even in the foundation, below the foundation also we can use the reinforcement along with the soil. So you can see this figure here also. The reinforcements are visible. Here, this wall, these aggregates or the gravels are visible, and the reinforcement is also there. Here, reinforcement is also there, and the coarse aggregates are also there. Here, you can see that how the compaction is going on at the site, and below the soil, the reinforcement is there. So, soil with the reinforcement is nothing but it is the steel. It may be a steel rod, it may be a steel net or the iron net, it may be bamboo sticks. We shall talk one by one all the things. What are the various types of reinforcements are there? So after this, we shall go for the definition of the reinforced soil. Reinforced earth consists of compacted soil mass within which reinforcing element or membranes. Membranes may be made up of polymer, maybe the jute bag or plastic bag, right? Usually in the form of horizontal strip of metal are embedded. So as I told you that in case of soil reinforcement, we are going to use the reinforcement. Whenever I talk the reinforcement and reinforcing element, two things are there. The reinforcing element which you are going along, which you are going to use along with the soil, and that is made up of reinforcement. What are the different reinforcement materials or reinforcing materials by which we can prepare the reinforcing elements? So this is a definition, as I told you, that whenever you are going to use the reinforcing element in the compacted soil mass, right, it definitely it is going to take the tensile load, and it may be in the form of strips or strips of metals, or maybe planks also, maybe in the form of net also, we can say. So we can see here, reinforcing elements may be made up of different materials. Galvanized steels you can also use as a reinforcing elements. We can also use the stainless steel or aluminum alloys. Rods of metals we can use as a reinforcing element. Wire grids, that means net of the wire, we can also use. Fiberglass strips or rods also we can use. Bamboo or geotextiles materials. Geotextile materials, see jute bag or this plastic bags in which cement normally we are getting in the market cement bag. So that bag can also be used as a reinforcing elements along with the soil. So what is written there actually? What is going to happen? What is the principle of soil reinforcement? What is happening in fact in case of reinforced soil? The essential feature of the reinforced earth is that friction develops between the compacted layers of the earth and reinforcing elements. See, whenever you are going to split the soil first layer on the ground and compacting at the required MDD and OMC, once compaction is over, then we shall put the reinforcing element in the form of a layer, and above that again we shall put the one layer of soil, and that soil we shall compact it at the required MDD and OMC. So what is going to happen? The see in the reinforcing element and the soil, in between these two material, actually these are called as soil interface also. Soil interface means here this in case of the reinforcing elements and the soil, both are going to have a friction together. एक दोनों के साथ फ्रिक्शन डेवलप होता है, और फ्रिक्शन डेवलप होने से नॉर्मली व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन, whenever the load is going to be applied, suppose you have constructed the retaining wall or you have constructed the embankment along with this soil and the reinforcement, that means reinforced soil reinforced embankment you have constructed, and suppose traffic is moving. In that case, what is going to happen? the soil will take the load, but that load is going to be transferred to the reinforcement. And how it will be going to transfer? With the help of friction. मिट्टी और reinforcement के बीच जो friction develop होता है, उस friction के जरिए reinforcement में tensile force जाता है और reinforcement tensile load को control करता है. So that's why it is written here. The essential feature of the reinforced earth is that friction develops between the compacted layer of the earth means soil, and the reinforcing elements. The soil transfers the forces to the reinforcement by means of friction. Thus, tension is developed in the reinforcement or reinforcing elements. Next, we can see the application of reinforced earth wall. Earth was first applied by Henry Vidal. This question has also been actually given in your question bank. Who was the first scientist? Who was the first researcher who constructed the reinforced earth wall? Who was the first person? So Henry Vidal. Henry Vidal, who constructed the most major retaining walls in France in 1968. He was the first person. पहली बार 1968 में reinforced earth wall का retaining wall बना था. So I think this is the principle. That means the soil, along with the reinforcement, the friction is going to be developed, and with the help of friction, the reinforcing element is going to take the load of the structure. It is going to take the load of the structure. You can also use the reinforcement below the base of the footing. That is also possible in case of embankment. So everywhere nowadays these soil reinforcements are used. We shall see the next points. So yes, so this figure is very important for understanding. Am I audible? आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
Yes, sir. आ रही है.
ठीक है. So we have to understand this figure, and based on this figure we are going to discuss today. See, this is the reinforced field, reinforced earth components, we can say. How the reinforcement we are going to put in the embankment or any materials along with the, for any construction, how we are going to use it. And you see that what are the various components are there. You can see three things are there. One is called a facing unit. You can see the facing unit. Suppose you are going to construct the embankment. अगर आप बांध बना रहे हैं या रिटेनिंग वॉल बना रहे हैं, तो ये हम लोग फेसिंग यूनिट इसको कहते हैं, जो फ्रंट का पार्ट होता है. दिस इज द सेक्शन एक्चुअली आई हैव शोन यू, एंड दिस इज कॉल्ड ए reinforcing element, स्ट्रिप्स और reinforcing elements also we can say, and this is called a common fill or the soil. हम लोग जैसे क्या किया, जैसे आप यहाँ देखिए एक लेयर reinforcement का बिछा दिया है, उसके ऊपर soil का लेयर है, then reinforcing element, then the soil, then reinforcing element. Likewise, we can go up to the required height. We can go for the soil reinforcement construction or the retaining wall. So what three things are there? The soil and fill that we are going to use in the reinforced soil, or if suppose I am asking you what is the soil reinforcement, definitely in soil reinforcement three things will be there. One is the soil, another will be the reinforcing strips or reinforcing elements, we can say, and this is called a facing unit. This is the facing unit. So facing unit का मतलब क्या होता है? फेसिंग यूनिट का क्या काम है कि इट ओनली गिव्स द आर्किटेक्चरल व्यू. इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू टेक द लोड ऑफ द स्ट्रक्चर. सपोज दिस इज द फील्ड अप एरिया, दिस इज द सॉइल रिइंफोर्स्ड फील्ड अप एरिया. आप लो लैंड एरिया में भी आप रिइंफोर्समेंट बना सॉइल और रिइंफोर्समेंट यूज कर सकते हैं, उसको भर सकते हैं और उसके ऊपर भी स्ट्रक्चर बना सकते हैं. या अगर हाई लैंड अगर आप बहुत हाई एरिया को कोई हाई लैंड को भर दिया, रिइंफोर्स्ड फिल कर दिया और उसके ऊपर स्ट्रक्चर बना सकते हैं. लेकिन ये दिस पोर्शन विच इज कॉल्ड एज फेसिंग यूनिट, इट इज गिव्स ओनली द आर्किटेक्चरल व्यू. दिस इज यूज ओनली फॉर ब्यूटिफिकेशन. इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू टेक द लोड ऑफ द स्ट्रक्चर विच यू आर गोइंग टू कंस्ट्रक्ट ऑन द टॉप ऑफ दिस reinforced wall or reinforced surface. So today we are going to talk about the soil. Actually, which type of what should be the geotechnical property? As per your syllabus, you can see the geotechnical properties of the reinforced earth field. What should be the properties of the soil which we can use in the soil reinforcement? So today we shall talk about the soil or field materials. And then we shall talk about the reinforcing strips. What are the various reinforcements by which we can prepare the reinforcing elements? जैसे आपको कहा जाए कि reinforcing element हम जैसे कहते हैं आयरन का नेट बनाते हैं किससे? आयरन से बनाते हैं। तो आयरन क्या होगा? reinforcing materials हो गया, reinforcement हो गया। reinforcing material से reinforcing element हमने क्या बनाया? आयरन नेट बनाया, आयरन रॉड बनाया। तो हम लोग आज बात करेंगे सॉइल के संबंध में कि किस तरह का सॉइल का प्रॉपर्टीज होना चाहिए रिइंफोर्स अर्थ के लिए, ये डिस्कस करेंगे। दूसरा हम लोग बात करेंगे रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट्स कितने तरह के होते हैं जो हम यूज करते हैं। तीसरा कल बात करेंगे फेसिंग यूनिट, कितने तरह के फेसिंग यूनिट होते हैं, ये कल बात करेंगे। सो सपोज द क्वेश्चन इज आस्क्ड व्हाट आर द वेरियस कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ द रिइंफोर्स्ड सॉइल और सॉइल रिइंफोर्समेंट। In that case, we can say three things are required: soil, reinforcing elements, or facing unit. So today we are going to talk about the soil. We shall see. Before that, I have given one figure here. Before talking about the soil reinforcements, you can see the figure. See, this is the facing unit. This is the facing unit. This is also a facing unit, and this is also a facing unit. See, facing unit, as I told you, it is not going to take the load. This is placed on the front surface of the reinforced wall for the beautification. अच्छा लगने के लिए इसको दिया जाता है। यहाँ देखिए, ये आप स्टोन का वॉल बना हुआ है और ये आप देखेंगे कि रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट्स है, मिट्टी भी है। तो और ये आगे का जो पार्ट जो है दैट इज फेसिंग यूनिट। हियर आल्सो यू कैन सी द फेसिंग यूनिट। So actually here I have tried in these figures to show you the facing unit. Facing panels कैसे facing unit कहिए या facing panel कहिए. So what are the various types of facing unit? We shall discuss tomorrow about the facing parts, facing unit. Now we shall see again the same the different figures I have given you. अब कैसे हम लोग यहाँ पर देखिए, यदि ये कंक्रीट ये जब फेसिंग यूनिट को हम कैसे इसको कनेक्ट करते हैं, यहाँ मिट्टी भरेंगे, मिट्टी भरा जा रहा है, फिर इन्फोर्समेंट भी दिया जाएगा, उसके बाद ये फेसिंग यूनिट कैसे तैयार किया जाए जस्ट फॉर ब्यूटिफिकेशन और स्ट्रक्चरल व्यू। हियर आल्सो यू कैन सी द फेसिंग यूनिट, देन द सॉइल इज गोइंग टू बी फिल्ड अप एंड द रॉड्स आर गोइंग टू बी लेड हियर एंड आफ्टर दैट द सेकंड लेयर इज गोइंग टू बी फिल्ड। सो दिस प्रोसेस इज कंटिन्यूड अप टू द रिक्वायर्ड हाइट। So now we shall see our main point, fill materials. This point we shall discuss today. Which materials, what should be the properties of these geotechnical properties of the soil, which we can use as a fill materials in the soil reinforcement. So geotechnical properties of reinforced soil, we call cohesionless fill. Suppose you are going to construct the retaining wall. Let us take one example, soil reinforced retaining wall. So in that case, definitely we need the soil. We need the either cohesionless soil, or we need the C5 soil, or we need the C soil, cohesive soil. So suppose you are going to use the cohesionless fill. Cohesionless fill means cohesionless soil. In that case, what should be the property which we can use as a fill materials? So what is written there? The cohesionless fill is defined a good quality, well-graded, non-corrosive materials. Well-graded, it should be well-graded, possess a good angle of internal friction. Internal friction means angle of shearing resistance should be very good in case you are going to use the cohesionless fill materials. In that case, what benefit is there? If angle of friction is more, in that case, more grip will be there along with the reinforcement. So you can see we can use the crushed rock as a cohesionless fill materials, river sand or gravel also we can use. So what are the material properties? What should be the material properties which we can use as a fill materials? We shall see one by one here. The density. What it said about density? Reinforced soil structures or reinforced soil, soil reinforcements are a gravity structure. See, gravity retaining walls we have studied. In case of gravity retaining wall, what is going to happen? The wall is going to take the horizontal load, or horizontal forces, or horizontal the displacement. It is going to be controlled by its own weight itself. अपने वजन के थ्रू ही लिया जाता है। ग्रेविटी हम लोग पढ़े हैं, ग्रेविटी रिटेनिंग वॉल, दैट मीन्स बाय इट्स ओन वेट। So gravity structure, the density of the parent materials is nothing but cohesionless fill materials or whatever the soil, cohesionless soil you are going to use, has a direct effect upon the internal and external stability. So internal stability means the friction in between the soil and the reinforcing element. And external stability means ओवरटर्निंग, जैसे आपका पूरा रिटेनिंग वॉल ही टेढ़ा हो गया, टिल्ट हो गया, उसको कहते हैं एक्सटर्नल स्टेबिलिटी. सो इंटरनल और एक्सटर्नल स्टेबिलिटी दोनों हम लोग पढ़ेंगे डे आफ्टर tomorrow. In the next lecture we shall discuss in the design part what do you mean by internal external stability. So density should be proper density should be there. That means density is also going to help here. Density also we can understand one thing here. जैसे हम लोग पढ़ा है स्पेसिफिक ग्रेविटी पार्टिकल डेंसिटी. अगर पार्टिकल डेंसिटी ज़्यादा है तो क्या होगा, मटेरियल ज़्यादा हार्ड होगा तो वो ज़्यादा लोड ले सकता है, मटेरियल फिल मटेरियल भी ज़्यादा लोड होगा, और इन्फोर्समेंट अगर उसके साथ देते हैं तो ग्रिप भी अच्छा बनाएगा, उसके बीच फ्रिक्शन भी अच्छा डेवलप होगा. तो अगर फील्ड मटेरियल से आइदर रिटेनिंग वाला है या एम्बैंकमेंट है या कोई लो लैंड एरिया आप सॉइल इन्फोर्समेंट करके फिलिंग किया है, उसके ऊपर स्ट्रक्चर बनाते हैं तो लोड ज़्यादा लेगा. दैट मीन्स व्हाट वी कैन से here density, we can say the particle density or specific gravity of the parent materials means the crust rocks or river sand or the gravel, that we can say as the parent materials from which your the cohesionless soil has been developed or generated. जैसे हम लोग पढ़े हैं कि कैसे soil formation होता है, तो that parent materials means from which the materials which has been formed by the rock, that is called as parent materials, from which material it has been formed. Now we can see the grading part here. Grading means particle size analysis. What should be the particle size analysis? So this grading or this particle size should be maintained for the cohesionless soil whenever you are going to use as a fill material in the soil reinforcement. आपका ये हम लोग का ग्रेडेशन होना चाहिए इस तरह से. Poorly graded are undesirable and may lead to problems of stability. अगर suppose you are going to use the cohesionless fill materials or cohesionless soil which is poorly graded, definitely the proper grip will not be there along with the reinforcement, and it will create the problems of stability. Your the filled up area or the soil reinforced wall or structure, soil reinforced structure we can say, which may be retaining wall, which may be the embankment, which may be lowland fill area also we can say. But what is going to happen, it will create the problem as stability. So if poorly graded cohesionless soil you are going to use as a fill materials. So ये gradation हम लोग को maintain करना चाहिए. ये geotechnical properties बोल रहा है कि whenever you are going to use the cohesionless soil, in that case this gradation should be maintained. Now the information coefficient of uniformity also we have studied earlier in geotechnical engineering, that the D60 by D10 is called a coefficient of uniformity. So what should be the values of Cu? That means whatever the values of Cu for the cohesionless fill, that also we have to know here. So what should be the values of Cu? The Cu should be greater than equal to 5. Then only your soil will be better, or your soil will be good as a fill materials. The next point we can see the pH values, chloride ion content, SO3, sulfur trioxide content, resistivity, redox potential, oxidation reduction potential को कहते हैं. कहने का मतलब ये है कि कोई सॉइल जो हम लोग फिलिंग में यूज करते हैं तो आप जानते हैं उसमें केमिकल मटेरियल्स भी होता है, केमिकल कंस्टिट्यूएंट्स भी होता है, और आप मान लीजिए कि आयरन रॉड यूज करते हैं तो आयरन रॉड को रस्टिंग भी कर सकता है. तो किस तरह का केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज क्या होना चाहिए, कि पीएच वैल्यू कितना होना चाहिए, क्लोराइड कंटेंट कितना होना चाहिए, जो फिल मटेरियल्स आप इस्तेमाल करने जा रहे हैं, विच इज कोहेशनलेस सॉइल. So you can see from this table, suppose your reinforcing element is made up of aluminum alloy. In that case we can say the pH of this fill material should vary in between 6 to 8 होना चाहिए. क्लोराइड कंटेंट अगर टेस्ट करते हैं उस मिट्टी में, सोडियम क्लोराइड भी हो सकता है, कोई भी क्लोराइड साल्ट कहलाता है, तो इट शुड नॉट बी एक्सीड 0.05 से ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, 0.05%. कॉपर, सपोज यू आर गोइंग टू यूज दिस रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट made up of copper materials. So in that case, pH should be 5, in between 5 and 9. What do you mean by pH here? pH means the pH of the fill materials, cohesionless soil. यदि ये आप रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट इस्तेमाल करते हैं तो pH का वैल्यू जो फिल मटेरियल्स है, जो कोहेशनलेस सॉइल, उसको कितना होना चाहिए, उस तरह से सारे यहाँ पर प्रॉपर्टी दिए हुए हैं. This we also we have to know. So next is called an angle of internal friction under effective stress condition. So effective stress condition we have already studied in the triaxial shear test. Whenever you are going to write C dash phi dash, that means the total stress minus pore water pressure, which is called as effective stress or effective stress, the cohesion value, the cohesion which you are going to find out from the CD test or the CU test. That means total stress minus pore water pressure is called as effective stress. So in that case, whatever the phi dash you are going to get, that also we have to know. So what it says that जो मटेरियल आप इस्तेमाल करते हैं उसका, उस मटेरियल का फाई कितना होना चाहिए cohesionless soil, it should be greater than equal to 25 degree. But one condition is also there. Whatever the particles you are going to use as a fill material, it's the particle less than 80 micron size should not exceed 15%. 18 माइक्रोन साइज कहने का मतलब कि इससे बड़ा होना चाहिए, 15% से अधिक एक्सीड नहीं करना चाहिए. जो भी आप फिल मटेरियल कोहेशनलेस सॉइल जो ले रहे हैं पार्टिकल्स, उस ये चीज को मेंटेन होना चाहिए उसको. Next point is the coefficient of friction between the fill and the reinforcing elements. As we discussed in the previous slide, that the friction is a very important parameter which is going to create the grip in between the soil and the reinforcing element. दोनों के बीच फ्रिक्शन जो क्रिएट होता है, that friction how we can test. आप तो सॉइल का फ्रिक्शन टेस्ट कर लेते हैं, ट्राइएक्सियल शियर टेस्ट करके फाई और सी का वैल्यू पता कर लेते हैं, डायरेक्ट शियर टेस्ट से भी पता कर लेते हैं. लेकिन यदि आप मिट्टी और जो रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट दोनों एक साथ जब यूज करते हैं तो दोनों के बीच का फ्रिक्शन हम कैसे पता करते हैं? उसके लिए दो मेथड्स हैं. One is called as sliding shear test. This test also we can perform in the direct shear test operators. So what we are going to do here, coefficient of internal friction between the soil and the reinforcement using sliding shear box indicates that the coefficient of sliding friction between soil and the reinforcement increases with increased density of soil and the roughness of the reinforcing materials. That means what? The coefficient of internal friction, coefficient of friction between the fill and the reinforcing element कब बढ़ जाए, कब बढ़ेगा? यदि मान लीजिए कि जो आप टेस्ट करने जाते हैं उस समय अगर सॉइल अच्छा से पैक करते हैं, डेंसिटी ज़्यादा है और ग्रिप जो है रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट जो यूज कर रहे हैं उस पर रफनेस ज़्यादा है, तो उस समय कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ फ्रिक्शन जो है ज़्यादा मिलेगा. दैट टेस्ट इज कॉल्ड ए स्लाइडिंग शियर टेस्ट, उसको कहते हैं. एक नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज ऑल्सो देयर विच इज कॉल्ड ए पुल आउट टेस्ट. So how we can do the pull out test? Pull out test how we can perform model, एक मॉडल बना लें हम लोग, प्रोटोटाइप मॉडल बना लें. जैसे हम लोगों को जैसे मैं आपको बताया था कि एक एग्जांपल करें, सपोज यू आर गोइंग टू कंस्ट्रक्ट द रिटेनिंग वॉल, सॉइल रिइंफोर्स्ड फील्ड रिटेनिंग वॉल. सो इन दैट केस व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन, जैसे आप उसके ऊपर अगर आप रोड बनाते हैं या रेलवे लाइन बिछाते हैं तो ऊपर से लोड जब इम्बैंकमेंट पर पड़ता है और अंदर सॉइल रिइंफोर्समेंट भी दिया हुआ है, तो हम लोग ने पढ़ा था कि टेंसाइल फोर्स इज गोइंग टू बी बॉर्ड बाय द रिइंफोर्समेंट, उस पर तनाव पड़ता है जो भी आपने रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट दिया है. तो इसको जैसे स्लाइडिंग शियर टेस्ट हम लोग को किया कि दोनों के बीच फ्रिक्शन कितना डेवलप होता है, जो डेंसिटी और उसके रफनेस पर निर्भर करता है. एक और टेस्ट होता है पुल आउट टेस्ट है. जैसे अगर उस मटेरियल्स को कितना टाइटली फिल होना चाहिए, आपको सॉइल और रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट एक दूसरे के साथ कितना टाइटली पकड़ कर रहना चाहिए. दैट इज कॉल्ड ए पुल आउट टेस्ट which can we can perform in the model और प्रोटोटाइप. कोई हम मॉडल बना लें एक बॉक्स में और क्या करें कि एक लेयर मिट्टी बिछा दें, पूरा कंपैक्ट करें, उसके ऊपर रिइंफोर्समेंट बिछा दें, फिर मिट्टी बिछाकर कंपैक्ट करें, फिर रिइंफोर्समेंट दे दें और देने के बाद क्या करें कि उस रिइंफोर्समेंट को खींचे उसको खींचने से वो कितना ग्रिप पकड़ कर रखा है, दैट इज कॉल्ड ए पुल आउट टेस्ट. सो we can see here in this test reinforcing strips in the form of a stick पट्टी जिसको कह सकते हैं हम लोग, are pulled out from the wall and for each strip a plot is made between the pull out load and corresponding displacement. कहने का मतलब ये है कि एक प्रोटोटाइप मॉडल हम लोग बना करके, जैसे मान लीजिए कि एक टैंक में जो या कहीं एक बांध जैसा बना लिया और पूरा उसको कॉम्पैक्ट किया, उस पर हमने रिइंफोर्समेंट भी बिछा दिया और कम्पेक्ट करने के बाद उस रिइंफोर्समेंट को खींचते हैं तो कितना डिस्प्लेसमेंट, कितना लोड पर कितना डिस्प्लेसमेंट उधर से उसमें से निकल रहा है, कितना बाहर निकल रहा है। तो लोड वर्सेस डिस्प्लेसमेंट का ग्राफ प्लॉट करें तो जो सबसे हाईएस्ट लोड अगर हमको जहां मिलता है, that is called as maximum pull out load is obtained, that maximum pull out load. So for this one formula is there. So maximum pull out load कितना किस स्ट्रिप पर, जैसे मान लीजिए आपने 4 लेयर बिछाया उसमें रिइंफोर्समेंट का, तो चारों लेयर एक एक करके सब लेयर को खींचना पड़ेगा। तो देखेंगे कि किस लेयर पर सबसे अधिक लोड हमको मिला और डिस्प्लेसमेंट मिला, तो बहुत सारी डिस्प्लेसमेंट का रीडिंग आएगा, बहुत सारी लोड का रीडिंग आएगा। तो उसमें हम ग्राफ भी प्लॉट करेंगे। ग्राफ प्लॉट करने के बाद जो हाईएस्ट हम लोग का जो लोड मिलेगा और जो हाईएस्ट लोड जो मिलेगा, दैट लोड वी कैन कॉल इट एज ए टी वैल्यू, so maximum pull out load. So what we can do, how we can calculate this the frictional value here developed by the pull out load test. So T is the maximum pull out load, ये फार्मूला का इस्तेमाल करते हैं हम लोग, एंड सिग्मा भी द नॉर्मल प्रेशर इंटेंसिटी एट रिइंफोर्सिंग स्ट्रिप लेवल। कहने का मतलब ये है कि आप मान लीजिए कि जो बांध बनाए हैं अगर 2 मीटर हाइट है, तो 2 मीटर हाइट तो ऊपर के हाइट से कितने गहराई पर आपने और क्या मिट्टी की डेंसिटी है, क्योंकि जैसे जैसे नीचे जाएंगे वैसे वैसे डेंसिटी भी बढ़ेगी ऊपर के वजन के चलते। और ऊपर मान लीजिए कोई सरचार्ज वजन आपने दे दिया, जो कोई ट्रैफिक का भी लोड हो सकता है, तो ये दिस इज कॉल्ड एज सिग्मा पी, नॉर्मल प्रेशर इंटेंसिटी एट द रिइंफोर्सिंग स्ट्रिप लेवल, gamma into z, z is the height of the strip, plus q, q is the surcharge load, gamma is the density, z is the depth of reinforcing element, q is the intensity of uniformly distributed surcharge load on the soil surface, बांध के ऊपर आपने कोई surcharge load रखा है, l is the length of reinforcing strip and w is the width of reinforcing strip, कितना लंबा आपने reinforcing element इस्तेमाल किया और कितना विड्थ उसकी कितनी है, इस पर भी निर्भर करता है। ये चीज़ हम लोग ध्यान रखते हैं, ये रिसर्च में हम लोग पता करते हैं कि कितने जैसे कितनी चौड़ाई पर कितना ये लोड ले रहा है, कितनी लेंथ पर कितना लोड ले सकता है। सो डिफरेंट लेंथ एंड डिफरेंट विड्थ इज आल्सो हैव इंपॉर्टेंस इन दिस पुल आउट लोड टेस्ट। नाउ द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज द कोहेसिव फ्रिक्शनल फील्ड। जैसे सपोज यू आर गोइंग टू यूज द कोहेसिव सॉइल, जैसे कोहेसिव सॉइल आप यूज कर रहे हो, cohesive frictional field, that means it is called as C5 soil. So in that case, what should be the grading? What should be the particle size distribution, the values? So we can see that if you are going to use the sieve 90 mm size, in that case, how much is 85 to 100% passing होना चाहिए, इसके बीच में होना चाहिए. So what is written there? More than 10% passing, 63 the micron British standard sieve. You can see 63 माइक्रोन से अगर आपका सीव है तो कह रहा है कि 10% से अधिक पास होना चाहिए। डेफिनेटली इट इज गिवन देयर 11 to 100 के बीच अगर पास करता है तो हम लोग का सवाल अच्छा है, उसकी ग्रेडिंग अच्छी है। तो कोहेसिव फ्रिक्शनल फील्ड मींस C5 सवाल जो अगर फील्ड के रूप में यूज करते हैं, मटेरियल के रूप में यूज करते हैं, तो व्हाट शुड बी द पार्टिकल साइज डाटा, पार्टिकल साइज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन वैल्यूज वी कैन से। So grading it is given there, and here also you can see if you are going to find out the values of coefficient of uniformity, the coefficient of uniformity should be greater than or equal to 5. This we can find out with the particle distribution chart. So see again here C5, if you are going to use the C5 soil as a field material, definitely we have to also test its chemical properties, pH value, chloride ion content, how much chloride is there, sulfur trioxide is there, resistivity, right? And the oxidation reduction potential, that also we can test. So what it says that the same the chart we can use in this case also. Whatever the charts we have discussed earlier, the same chart we can use in case of C5 soil. But now the next point is the moisture content. Whenever you are going to use the C5 soil as a field material, the moisture content definitely we should maintain in between 6 to 10%. Then the stability of your field of material or this soil reinforced wall will be very good in that case, if you are having the moisture content in between 6 to 10%. Next property is liquid limit and plastic PI, plasticity index. If you are going to use the materials which have size less than 52 micron, 52 micrometer, actually micrometer or micron both are same. In that case, liquid limit should be less than equal to 45% and plasticity index should be less than equal to 20%. Then only your fill material will be considered as a good materials for the soil reinforcement. So angle of internal frictions, that means phi dash, the phi dash should be greater than equal to 20 degree. जो भी आप C5 soil यूज करते हैं उसका ये मटेरियल प्रॉपर्टी यानी जीवन टेक्निकल प्रॉपर्टीज क्या होना चाहिए और केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज क्या होना चाहिए, ये सब चीज़ हम लोगों को एसेस करना चाहिए, डिटरमाइन करना चाहिए, उसके बाद उसको यूज करना चाहिए soil reinforcement. So now we can see the cohesive field. Suppose you are going to use the C soil. See, C is not suitable soil. The cohesive soil is not suitable. Clay soil is not suitable because grip will not be there. Proper grip will not be there in between the soil and the reinforcing element. You can see it is written there. Bond between cohesive.
Reinforcement slip हो जाएगा.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes sir, you are audible.
Yes sir, audible है.
Okay. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आप लोगों को?
Yes sir.
Yes sir, आ रहा है.
Okay. So suppose you are going to use the clay soil or cohesive soil as a fill material in soil reinforcement. In that case, the proper the grip will be very poor. We can say the bond means grip. We can say cohesive soil and a strip reinforcements either or any reinforcement which you are going to use, the bonding will not be good. Second point, the clay materials such as elite. Suppose you are going to elite the materials which have the clay minerals, elite clay minerals. So it will also accelerate the metal corrosion. Corrosion create कर सकता है. Cohesive soil may be susceptible to frost. ज़्यादा वो जमने की संभावना रहती है cohesive soil इस्तेमाल करने पर. And drainage problem is also there. क्योंकि ड्रेनेज भी होना चाहिए, पानी को रिच करके निकल जाना चाहिए. अदरवाइज क्या होगा कि उस फ्रॉस्ट कंडीशन भी विंटर सीजन में हो सकता है और इसकी ये सूटेबिलिटी, इसका स्ट्रेंथ भी आपका प्रॉपर नहीं होगा, सूटेबल नहीं होगा, क्योंकि ड्रेनेज ही नहीं हो पाएगा, पानी उसमें जमा रहेगा, तो फ्रॉस्ट भी बन सकता है और उसका स्ट्रेंथ भी कम हो जाएगा. So this is the property, this is the drawback of the cohesive fill or clay soil. So always it is better to go for the cohesionless soil. Cohesionless fill is always better. Now we shall see the reinforcement. That means whatever the reinforcing element which you are going to use here, that reinforcement, reinforcing materials we can use for manufacturing the reinforcing element. जैसे आपको बताया था कि आयरन से आप आयरन नेट बना सकते हैं, रॉड बना सकते हैं, तो रॉड को क्या कहेंगे? रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट कहेंगे, और आयरन को हम लोग रिइंफोर्समेंट मटेरियल्स, रिइंफोर्सिंग मटेरियल्स कहेंगे या रिइंफोर्समेंट भी कर सकते हैं. तो स्टील भी हो सकता है, कंक्रीट से भी बन सकता है, ग्लास फाइबर्स, वुड से भी हम लोग रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट बना सकते हैं, रबर से भी बना सकते हैं, एल्युमिनियम का भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, थर्मोप्लास्टिक्स. और इससे हम लोग जो रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट बनाते हैं उसको हम लोग स्ट्रिप भी कह सकते हैं, ग्रिड, एंकर, सीट मटेरियल्स, प्लैंक्स, रोप, वेजिटेशन भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं हम लोग. बहुत जगह वेजिटेशन का मतलब क्या है कि घास दे करके भी बिछा दिया ऊपर से, फिर मिट्टी बिछा दिया, तो वो भी कुछ लोड ले सकता है. सो वी शैल सी वन बाय वन हियर व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट्स. स्ट्रिप मीन्स पट्टी हम लोग कहते हैं. जैसे आपका लोहे की जो आपकी आयरन की चादर है, सीट टाइप का जो बना हुआ, उसको हम लोग अगर पतला पतला कटिंग कर दिया जाए तो उसको स्ट्रिप कहते हैं हम लोग. So strip, these are the flexible linear elements, and it depends upon its dimension, depends upon the application and structure, where you are going to use and for what type of a structure you are going to use. But the thickness of the strip should vary 3 to 20 mm, and the breadth may vary from 30 to 100 mm. Whatever the strip you are going to use as a reinforcing element. So as it is given here, the strips, the metal strips are normally most common. Strips can be formed from aluminium also. Aluminium का material से उससे भी बना सकते हैं हम लोग strip. Copper, polymers, glass fibers से भी बन सकता है. Reinforced plastic, bamboo and mild steel से भी strip बन सकता है और उसका हम लोग reinforcing element के रूप में इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. दूसरा है कि planks से. Planks मतलब कहते हैं लकड़ी का पट्टी जैसा. मान लो लकड़ी का जो हम लोग देखते हैं वुड सॉइंग जो होता है, उसका जो प्लैंक जो बनता है उसका भी इस्तेमाल हम लोग रिइंफोर्सिंग एलिमेंट के रूप में कर सकते हैं. सो व्हाट इज रिटन देयर, इट इज डेफिनेटली इट इज अ स्टिफ इन नेचर. प्लैंक्स कैन बी फॉर्म फ्रॉम टिम्बर. रिइंफोर्स्ड कंक्रीट से भी बना सकते हैं, प्री स्ट्रेस्ड कंक्रीट से बना सकते हैं. The dimension of concrete planks vary from, you can see the thickness, if you are going to use the reinforcement, definitely reinforcement we have to use. So 100 mm thickness and breadth will vary from 200 mm to 300 mm. But we have to handle with care because it is susceptible to cracking. ये crack भी कर सकता है. So if you are going to use the planks. Now we shall see the next thing, grid and geogrids. So see, this is the plan of the reinforced field materials. Reinforced field materials may be retaining walls or the lowland area filling. So this is, you see, the free edge or face. This is the facing part, and this is the transverse wire we can say, and this is the longitudinal wires we can say. So we can see this figure, transverse and longitudinal members. This is the transverse members, which is parallel to the facing unit, और ये लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल सपोर्ट हम दे रहे हैं. आप इस ये फिगर को भी देखिए, ये जो दिया हुआ है ट्रांसवर्स भी दिया है और लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल भी है. दोनों देखिए एक दूसरे से ये ग्रिड टाइप का बना हुआ है. दिस इज कॉल्ड ए ग्रिड. इस ग्रिड को भी हम लोग इस्तेमाल करते हैं एज ए रिइंफोर्समेंट एलिमेंट. आपने एक लेयर मिट्टी का दिया, उसके ऊपर इसको बिछा दिया, फिर ऊपर फिर मिट्टी दिया, फिर एक लेयर बिछा दिया, और मिट्टी को बार बार रोलर से कंप्लीट भी करते रहते हैं. सो face or free edge of the structure and behave as abutments or the anchors. The main purpose of the longitudinal members is to retain the transverse. Actually, the main load is going to be taken up by the transverse transverse part only. But this longitudinal part is going to take the one. It is going to be used only as a support. You can see. Since the transverse members act as an abutment or anchor. Abutment means का मतलब क्या हुआ कि horizontal displacement. जैसे मान लीजिए आपने जो structure ये बनाया, this is the plan, and as you know that this is not going to take the load of it is used, facing unit is only used for the beautification. So what is going to happen? This transverse is going to take the horizontal displacement. Suppose horizontal displacement अगर हो रहा है तो इसका सारा load जो है इसी transverse वाले पर ही आएगा. So and we can form the grid materials like this way. Now we can see the next one. Grids can be formed by the steel in the form of a plane or a galvanized weld mesh. Welding करके भी हम लोग grid बना सकते हैं. देखते हैं 2-3 मिनट टाइम आप लोगों को लेंगे और so grids, see grids formed from polymers. Polymers से जो grids बनता है that is called as geogrids, right? And it is the plastic products are manufactured as a composite materials. Geogrids इसको कहते हैं. You can see here that this is the facing units, and see for drainage material is also given here, and these are the geogrids, and you can see these are the fill materials. So this we can also consider as a retaining wall. Retaining walls along with the geogrid materials. So next one is the anchors. Anchor is also used as a reinforcing element. You can see here, this is the wall in which we can use the anchors like this way. And the anchors component, reinforcing element will be like this way. आप एक पहला देखिए, दूसरा देखिए, तीसरा देखिए. तो ये क्या करते हैं हम लोग इसको मिट्टी के अंदर हम लोग इसको मिट्टी के अंदर रखते हैं और इसको बाहर निकाल करके यहाँ टाइट कर देते हैं. So this is also going to work as a reinforcing elements. You can see how it has been used as a reinforcing material. So anchors, this is called as anchors. So can we continue tomorrow? Because time is also not there. So because
Yes, sir.
two or three slides will be there. More or two or three slides will be there.
Yes, sir. Next class in just 5 minutes.
Okay. So we shall close here only.
Yes, sir.